Good evening. Today is the 100th episode, and it's a special day on Independence Day. We are truly humbled to have Mr. Sam Pitroda with us. Mr. Sam Pitroda is an internationally respected telecom inventor, development thinker, and who has spent over 50 years in information and communications technology and related global and national developments. Let's welcome him. Vanakkam and namaste, sir. Thank you so much for accepting to be with us. We are truly humbled at Srishti TV. You're going to be spending 60 minutes. We're going to discuss about the journey of the internationally acclaimed telecom inventor. This expert talks with Hari is segmented into three areas. One is about the schooling and college. The second one is the journey. The third one has a little bit of surprise segments where we'll be asking a couple of questions.
Sure.
So first, I'll start with first segment, sir. Mr. Sam Pitroda's schooling and college days. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for this opportunity. I was born and raised in a small little tribal village in Orissa, where schooling was difficult. My parents came from Gujarat. They had interest in teaching us Gujarati and Hindi. So I studied at home mainly until 5th grade. I was born in British Raj in 1942. So after India got independence in 47, like millions, my father raised his dreams and aspirations. And he wanted all his children to get very good education. In those days, the only connectivity with Gujarat for my parents was really Gandhiji, Sardar Patel. And in our house, we used to have pictures of Nehru, Maulana Azad, Subhash Chandra Bose, along with Gandhiji and Patel. So my parents decided to send me and my older brother to a boarding school in Gujarat where Sardar Patel had his birthplace, Karamsad, and this was next to Karamsad was a place called Vallabh Vidyanagar. So we were sent to a boarding school in a small little town in Gujarat. We studied there for 5 years. My formal education in school started in 5th grade. So then, after 5 years, we moved to Baroda. So I did my schooling in Baroda in engineering school, technical school rather. So where we were taught carpentry, electrical work, machine drawings, lathe work. And it really taught me how to work with your hands and got me interested in a little bit of physics and engineering. Finished my schooling there at the MS University School in engineering sort of related environment and went to college in Baroda. Got my degree in physics, BS in physics in 62, studied for masters in physics. And then one fine day, read in the newspaper that President Kennedy has decided to send man onto the moon. And as a young man, I thought this was very romantic. So I applied for admission and decided to come to America. Took a boat from India to Italy, took a train from Italy to London, and took a plane from London to New York, and a bus from New York to Chicago, and landed up here. This was 1964, 55 years ago. Came here to get a PhD in physics, but found out it will take about 5 to 7 years. So decided to change and got an electrical engineering degree in 1 year, a master's. Then called my girlfriend, got married here, and worked part-time for my PhD for about 7, 8 years. So that's my schooling background.
Thank you, sir. And how about the college, and how was the journey? Was there any key lessons from the challenges you faced, sir?
One, I was lucky to have some very good teachers, loving, caring. There were two lady teachers, Indu Ben, Nalini Ben. Nalini Ben just died. Then there was a uh, very Gandhian teacher, Suman Bhai Vaidya. And those people really embedded in us Gandhian values: truth, trust, love, inclusion, diversity, freedom, tolerance, perseverance. And I think those were very important values that we were taught early in life. Suman Bhai was very Gandhian, and he was just one of the best teachers you could ever think of. In fact, later in his life, he got an award from President of India as one of the best teachers. And I think these people had clear focus on fundamentals. And those things really helped a lot in the journey all the way up to here. And to us, character mattered, values mattered. You never compromise on certain things just because there was a quicker way to get something done. We were taught to take the roads less traveled. We were taught to explore new frontiers, take risk, be curious. Now that I reflect on all of those things, I realize that early in life we were taught discipline, ethics, morals, respect for other human being, little bit of creativity. And I think these things are so very critical in life that we don't pay enough attention to it today. It also gave us self-confidence. I always tell young people that the most important thing you need to learn is to build good self. If you don't have good self, you get into a lot of trouble. For me to feel good about you, I must feel good about myself. If I don't feel good about myself, I'll find faults in you. If I find, good in me, I'll find good in you. I'll always look at good side of you and not worry about your whatever issues you have, because I also have issue. I meet with you for a while and I want to make best out of it. We tend to focus on our disagreements and not on our agreements. I want to work with you on our agreements. I don't worry about our disagreements, because I can go spend time with somebody who has an agreement and not spend time with you on disagreement. So I think all of these lessons that we learned early in life also taught us how to be a good team player. You got to have good self to be a team player, because you got to be non-hierarchical. Okay. You got to be more democratic. There are areas where you have better expertise than I have, and I must accept that. Somebody who is 10-year-old may know little more about something than I do. It is okay. Just because I'm old doesn't mean I need to know everything. And to be able to accept that genuinely is not very easy. In India, you see all these little fights in corporate world, in politics. It's all about self-esteem. A lot of people come to me and say, "Sir, I got humiliated." Why? Because they selected somebody else as opposed to me for this post. And my answer to them is, there is nobody who can humiliate you except yourself. How can somebody humiliate you if you don't want to be humiliated? So I think self-esteem is a very important aspect of life. And it doesn't mean ego. That's exactly opposite. Self-esteem is comfort, respect for other human being. And for that, I also learned that you need multiple identity in life. You can't have one identity that I'm just this. You got to be able to say, I'm an engineer, I'm a father, I'm a businessman, I'm social worker, okay, I'm a teacher. You got to have multiple identity. A lot of the violence in the world comes from very singular identity, saying I am so fundamentalist about this, as opposed to saying I'm that and I'm this and I'm five other things. And I think we were taught that early in life unconsciously. We learn all of these things and didn't even realize.
Thank you so much. Very well, in a nice manner, and especially much needed message now of all the time. Now, the second segment is about the journeys, the journey of a telecom inventor. You laid the foundation for telecommunication in India. How did it all start? Where did the thought come, sir?
Well, first of all, by accident, I got into telecom
Oh,
because I had a degree in physics and I had a degree in electrical engineering. I always thought I will work in nuclear physics,
okay.
instrumentation, and all that. So I took a job, first job in nuclear instruments. But then company decided to move from Chicago to Cleveland. I went to Cleveland for a few weeks, but I didn't like because all my friends were here in Chicago.
Mhm.
So then I started looking for a job. A friend of mine was working for a telephone company and he introduced me to his boss and they asked me for an interview because somebody who had taken up a job was from England and his wife got pregnant and she didn't want to deliver children in or child in US. So she said, I'm not going to US.
Oh,
So by accident, there was an opening and I got the job. So I started in telecom in 66 with a small group working on digital switching. Those were the early days of digital communications technology. And I was lucky to be at the right place at the right time. Learned a lot, got several patents, and then in 74 left that company and started my own business with two other American friends, Mr. Penny and Mr. Brown, to build digital switching systems and automatic call distributors. 2009 system, and for airline reservations in those days, no one really made good automatic call distributors. Built that business. I was very young, uh, 74, so I was 32-year-old, 31-year-old, and then sold that business in 79 to Rockwell International, became vice president of Rockwell in telecom, had an operation in Dallas, Cedar Rapids, and Chicago. And after having made a little bit of money, decided to go to India to take my parents to see Taj Mahal. And when I landed there, I tried to call my wife. This was 79, early 80, and couldn't make a phone call. Phones just did not work in those days. Making international call was a project. And even if you connected, you couldn't hear properly. So I just got interested in saying, this looks like a big enough problem to work on. Because by then I had made a little bit of money, so I had a little comfort. I was right age, about 38 or so, and I had started family by then. I was married. My brothers and sisters had come from India to US, and we were reasonably well settled as a family. So I came back and told my wife that I think I'm going to spend next 10 years of my life fixing India's telephone because I strongly believe that India can completely change if we can connect India. Northeast needed connectivity. South needed connectivity with North. East needed connectivity with West. In a complex, diverse country like India could benefit a great deal from connectivity. So I thought I can use all the knowledge that I had learned in US, in India, to really develop telecom and IT. I had a very big software team in those days at Westcom, hundreds of software people. So I knew that software is going to be a key to the future. This was way before Apple was set up and just about the time Microsoft and all that. Okay. In 75, I almost had 100 software people working on digital switching because digital switching was all about software. But then there were no higher level languages. We used microprocessors. There were microprocessors were just introduced. Intel was formed. Intel was building microprocessors. These are very early days. So I had an opportunity to see the entire spectrum. So when people talk about technology and all that, they don't realize that it is one thing to read in the paper. It's another thing to live through that
Phase.
phase and revolution and be in middle of it, not be on the sideline. Okay. Now, how do you explain to somebody this? Because then it remains in your gut. I remember when in India this tablet was being introduced, this Indian tablet
Hmm.
handheld, and they were saying it will be produced for so much. I said, look, it cannot be done. So somebody asked me, how do you know? I said, I know it because I can hold it in my hand and tell you
The
that this cannot be done. Don't ask me why. Okay. But I can bet my life on it. Okay. Because then it comes in your guts. You become part of that DNA. Okay. So anyway, I didn't know how to do it. I had never been to Delhi. I didn't know how government works because I had come here when I was too young, and I was a poor guy, so I didn't know anybody. You know, I always say that I had no connections. I had never used telephone before coming to America because I didn't have a telephone. And if somebody had a telephone, he was too rich to be my friend. So there was no need to call anybody. You know. So then someone said, look, if you really want to do something big, you must see Mrs. Indira Gandhi. I didn't know how to see Mrs. Indira Gandhi. But then there was a very interesting member of parliament from Gujarat, Maharaja Baria, Devgad Baria. He was a thorough gentleman. And through my father-in-law, I connected with him. And he was very helpful. He was full of confidence, great supporter, very comfortable with himself. And he would invite me for gin and tonic on and off. And he's the one who, through somebody, connected me with Mrs. Indira Gandhi. I got an opportunity to give her 1 hour presentation on how telecom and IT could change face of India. This was 1980. And she had her entire cabinet there. She had everybody, Venkatraman, Pranab Mukherjee, Arjun Singh, Gundu Rao, everyone. And that's when I met Rajiv Gandhi for the first time with his friends, Arun Nehru, Arun Singh, Vijay Dhar, and others. And in 1 hour, I could convince Mrs. Gandhi that this is something interesting to do for India, digital switching, digital communications, software, and build local capabilities. When people talk about made in India now, it was made in India of the first order then. So we said we will build it ourselves using Indian talent, Indian capabilities, local production, local ancillary industry. And we started a program called CDOT, Center for Development of Telematics, with about 400 young engineers from IITs and other institutions in India. very bright engineers. We had an office in Chicago, in Akbar Hotel in Delhi and in Bangalore. We build, design products, build products, set up ancillary industry. Remember, in these days or in early 80s, nobody made in India anything. You couldn't even make a good telecom transformer. There was no software capabilities. So we started everything from scratch, including metal rack that
Wow.
put in electronic cards. Nobody made one. So we built ancillary industry. We started production. And right after C dot was launched, Mrs. Gandhi was assassinated. Rajiv Gandhi became prime minister. And I must say, he gave full political will behind this program. It was his political will that helped us get into digital communication in India. He himself understood a lot of these ideas, and he backed us up to the hilt. Then we started during his tenure Prime Minister Scientific Advisory Council, which gave direction to many programs. Uh, CNR Rao was the chairman, and we had some distinguished people there. We started CDAC, Center for Development of Advanced Computing. We started TIFAC, and then I got into technology missions on immunization, literacy, rural drinking water, edible oil, telecom, and milk production. And we were very high in those days. We were building a nation. So when many of these people say nothing got done in 50 years, they have no idea. One, they are liars, and two, they are ignorant. Okay. But people love it when you say things like this. Okay, because lies sell. So India did a lot of interesting things, not just in IT and telecom. Green revolution, space, atomic energy, okay, build IITs, IIMs, what India is today. It is because of all the things we did. Okay. But how do you argue with an ignorant people? You know, because they shout and scream and, abuse. They have no manners. They have no respect for other human beings. And it's sad that they don't understand. Especially today is a day to remember all the things we did in 74 years. When you say nothing got done, you are really insulting people of India. You're not insulting one party or the other. You are saying people of India didn't do anything. How could, 700 million people not do anything? Forget about which party. Okay. So I think when I look at 15th of August today,
Yes.
and where we are, I feel really bad. I feel bad because I think our democracy is hijacked. I feel our freedom is curbed. I feel we are unnecessarily dividing people, fighting for nothing. India stands for diversity. I love my diversity. When I go to Kerala, it's a different world. I love it. It's my world. When I'm in Gujarat, it's my world. When I'm in Orissa, it's my world. When I go to, you know, Delhi, it's my world. That is the world I like. Variety of food, culture, languages, music, dance. You look at the dance in Kerala and you look at dance in, Rajasthan, and my God, what a rich country is that? And you want to challenge that? You want to divide that? You want to tell people you are different? You know, I don't care what your religion is. I respect you for who you are. And that's what we need to remember today. August 15th is a day to reflect on it,
Yes.
saying we need to be united, we need to be together, we need to respect each other, we need to love each other. Okay.
Okay.
And
So
this
now,
is a major issue today.
so we have questions from our viewers. We have Mr. Rakesh Kumar Sharma. He is the Vice Chancellor of Savita Institute of Medical Science and Technology, Chennai. He's
Uh-huh.
asking how safe is 5G technology for from health point of view because sparrows are disappearing. Is it anyway connected?
I don't think so.
Okay,
I don't think so.
okay.
Okay. I think
Then,
people have talked about, this whole idea of, radiation affecting your brain and this and that and all. It'll fry this, fry that.
mhm, okay,
I don't think so. But, then if you just hold on to your phone 10 hours a day, it's the heat that'll affect you more so than radiation. So I don't think that's an issue.
okay. Now we have Mr. Mike Muralitharan. Dr. Pitroda, India has been assembling country with the domestic consumption being one of the highest. How do you feel we can graduate to design or technology country?
We are design and technology country. Who said we are not? And we design our own products. Look, we design great food. Don't underestimate India's ability to innovate. It is not about software and satellite. I mean, look at the food India has invented. Look at the textile India has invented. Okay. Look at art and craft. Okay. So don't get sucked into this Western idea that technology is only about satellite and uh, software. Of course, it is important. Okay. But we are a design country. Okay. Look at our clothes. I mean, it's a design. Okay. It depends on what you call design. Okay. So I would take pride in what we have. Of course, we need other things as well. I'm not saying that's not important. But let's start with a positive idea.
Okay. Sir, as a founder and chairman of India's first telecom commission, what were the areas where you initiated a lot of things? Because now we are enjoying cell phone, but I studied about you during my MBA in Sri Ramachandra University. We have cell phones because of your discussion with Madam Indira Gandhi was discussed in our classroom. So, as a chairman of India's Telecom Commission, what all did you initiate, sir?
Okay. The real idea then was to begin to privatize telecom,
Okay.
starting with manufacturing, because before I came in, everything was under government control. ITI was the only company making telephone instruments and switches and everything. So we decided to deregulate telecom,
Okay.
liberalize the market, starting with making PBX, rural exchanges, get private entry into the system, corporatize MTNL, VSNL, negotiated with labor a contract which says we are not going to hire more people, because it took me 18 months to negotiate contract with labor. We had 500,000 employees and about 2 million phones. We were going to increase to 20 million, and they wanted to increase employment accordingly. Then we waited for right kind of cell phone technology and didn't introduce analog mobile phone, but waited for GSM. Decided that wireless technology would be free to private entrepreneurs. So we really laid the foundation for privatization, liberalization, deregulation, and that was the real need of the hour. It was ahead of its time. And if we had not done those things, we won't be where we are. Remember, then we had 2 million phones.
Okay.
Today we have 1 billion phones.
Yes.
Okay, people forget these things. Okay, people have no idea. Then we did not generate $1 worth of software export. Today we generate $180 billion worth of software export. How did all that happen? Who did
Organization.
all that? Okay. I tell a lot of young people that 60% of India was born after I finished my work in telecom. Okay. So they don't know who the hell is Sam Pitroda. They don't know who the hell was Rajiv Gandhi. They have no idea of what we did. We eradicated polio because we started producing polio vaccine ourselves. It happened in Rajiv Gandhi's time. Okay. So Rajiv Gandhi was a visionary. When he said, I want to take India into 21st century, what he meant is with confidence, with respect, with dignity, using science and technology. And we are there. Okay. It may be 10 years here and there, but as a nation, that doesn't matter. In the history of a nation, 10 years is not a big period. Okay. So we should be proud that he planted the right seeds for us to be where we are. Okay. Everybody wants to take credit for where we are, but nobody wants to go back and look at what sacrifices people made. I can tell you a whole story on polio vaccine, which will shock you. And it happened during Rajiv Gandhi's time. Polio vaccine did not get eradicated because some, great actors came in on television and gave ads. Okay. So these are the things people need to learn, know, explore, understand.
We have Dr. Yamuna Krishna. Uh, Sir, can you deliberate on the multiple identities you talked about?
This is my view.
Okay.
My view is we all have to have multiple identity. You got to be proud of the fact that you are from Kerala. You got to be proud of the fact that you are Muslim, Hindu, Christian, doesn't matter who you are. You should be proud of the fact that you are a professor, you are a doctor, you are a father, you are a great social worker, you are a wonderful, reliable friend. Okay. You are a local politician. You got to have multiple identity because then
Okay.
I believe you diffuse your anger. Then you understand others. Okay. Rather than saying, I am only one fundamentalist. I only believe in this thing. And if you don't believe in that, you are my enemy. Okay. And
Okay.
I'll fight with you and I'll, start, wrestling with you. Okay. I mean, it's barbaric in a sense. Okay.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
we all need to have multiple identity. It's good to have multiple. It's wonderful. I'm a singer. I'm an actor. I'm a painter. Somebody could say, I'm not one, but I'm saying
No, no.
the identity you need. Saying, look, I'm also a great singer. I'm also a great painter. I'm also a great, factory worker. Whatever you are, great carpenter. You know, I think all these things add to your diversity. Diversity is not about just religion. Diversity is also about your profession.
Wow.
You know, see, and we must respect that diversity. Okay, you can't say I'm just a professor. I mean, you are entitled to be a painter. You are entitled to be a barber. I cut my own hair. Okay, I don't go to barber. I cut my own hair. And when I was young, I'll invite all my friends. I'll cut their hairs. I'll cut my wife's hair. I used to cut my wife's girlfriend's hairs. So you could say I'm a barber also. That is the diversity I want.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Mr. Anand from CCH Consulting, he says on August 15, 1995, public internet access was launched in India by VSNL. A lot of hard labor have gone behind. I remember when Dr. Sam Pitroda visited Chennai and addressed group of people. Happy recall.
Thank,
He's recalling.
thank you. Really appreciate. And people like him, build India's telecom. India's telecom cannot be built by one person. Thousands and thousands of people helped, worked hard, and we must respect that. You know,
We have Mr. Vidyashankar Guru from Only Success Private Limited. Please do share the toughest phase of your life and how did you handle the same?
well, I would say toughest phase of my life came in when it started when I had a heart attack in India. One fine early morning at 2 o'clock, I got up with stomach pain. My wife panicked and we went to escort. And I was told in the hospital that I'm having heart attack. So they saved me by giving me a shot. And I was chairman of Telecom Commission then. So I wanted to go back to work next morning. They said, no, you can't go back to work because we have to go through angiogram. They did angiogram, found 8 arteries blocked. And they said, you'll have to stay in the hospital for 21 days because we can't operate on you. So I moved my hospital room office. All the telecom files came there and I ran Telecom Commission from hospital. Then I had a surgery. And that started thinking in my mind about what next in life, because my children were very young. And then Rajiv Gandhi died. And that broke my heart, literally. He was too young to be taken away from all of us. He was too important to India. He was too good of a human being. He was a friend. He had a vision. He was dynamic. And I felt my world has fallen apart. And I also realized that I had run out of money. All the money I had made in US, I had already spent in 10 years. My children were ready to go to college. I had no money to pay for their tuition. So I decided to come back to US. Because in India, you couldn't make that kind of money to pay for your children school in America in a job. So I decided to come back, but by then I had given up my nationality. So I had no visa to come back. So I came back as a tourist, restarted my life. But by then I was about 50 to 50, something close to 50. And it was tough. And no one knew that I had this problem. Even my family did not know that I had no money, that coming as a tourist, you couldn't work. They just all assumed that I'm sort of, invisible expert on everything. Okay. So I was very vulnerable. But then if you're down, you're bound to come up. If you're up, you're bound to come down. So don't get too excited about victory. I don't celebrate victories. It's part of life. Okay. If you go up, you're going to come down. So just relax. Okay. And if you are down, don't get too upset. You'll come up.
Thank you, sir. Sir, in this COVID scenario, Lebin Joseph is asking, what's the advice on small scale businesses in India now who are undergoing a little bit of, who are struggling currently because of this lockdown and COVID phase?
It is unfortunate that small businesses have suffered. It is also unfortunate that the poorest of the poor have suffered the most. You look at what happened to our migrant labor. Okay. We don't take care of poor people well. So big businesses will get the loan, bailout and all. Somehow they'll survive, but little people will have different challenge. So they have to rebuild from ashes. They have to rise. So first they need confidence that good days are ahead, that they will rise, have inner strength. Don't give up. Don't be disappointed. You have the market. You need a little bit of capital to boost. You can get support from others. But this is a rebirth of a small business. Review and reflect on what you did wrong last time. Make sure this time you do it well. Make sure you create enough cushion this time. So have positive attitude. You will come up. Don't panic.
Thank you, sir. Sir, Mr. Amol is asking, can you put some light on National Optic Fiber Network project and what's the progress we made under it?
Well, there were several optical fiber projects. One was called NOFN, and that was designed to connect 250,000 panchayats to optical fiber with 100 megabit of bandwidth. That was really connect. The idea was to connect all our districts, all our panchayats, so we can expand education, health services, government services. Project should have been done in 3 years. Nandan and I sort of were driving together. Unfortunately, internal politics within BSNL, the router, some people wanted to import, we wanted to build locally, and all kinds of internal stuff delayed the project. I'm sure. So my idea was to really give it to BSNL, railways, you know, and TCIL, and others who were really in the public sector, because they had the reach. Private didn't want to go there. If private wanted to go there, we would have a problem. But private always wants to milk the system and take the malai. So they would rather be in Delhi, Bombay, Calcutta, big cities, and not go to some district where there are very few phones. So there was a fund called Universal Service Obligation Fund, where private pay penalty for not going to rural areas. And that kitty of money was almost 30, 40,000 crores.
Okay.
Yeah, nobody had used it.
Okay.
So my idea was to take that money and build optical fiber network. So Dr. Manmohan Singh supported the idea. Everybody joined hands. And I believe now probably 150,000 panchayats are connected, but it should have been done long time ago.
Thank you, sir. Now, we have a question from Dr. Badrinaran from Hindustan University. Sir, you had a vision of new India. How do you see the current India and the future in terms of its journey in progress? Reimagining India is the area he's touching, sir.
I think we have done well in some areas. I think we have done well in technology, telecom, IT, software, auto industry, pharmaceutical. But I want development from bottom up and not from top down. So telecom we did was from bottom up, rural exchange, STD PCOs. I would like all our development to begin from bottom up, which is Gandhian model. So we have done reasonably well, but we need to further liberalize. We need to reduce bureaucracy. We need to simplify procedures. We need to use technology to improve our governance. We have a lot of things, but we don't use it. We still have Nadawali file. With all these software capabilities, why don't we get rid of Nadawali file? We have 32 million court cases pending. Why don't you use computerization to get rid of court cases? We're going to use technology for the benefit of people. We are not doing that. We talk all this game. We promise things we don't understand. Okay. We say buzzwords. We have no idea what we are saying. But you are ignorant. People are ignorant. So everybody loves it. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
I think the challenge is to really use technology in a way that helps people in the long run. And we can do that. I think we can change the face of India again in 10 years. But we need different mindset. We need democracy, we need freedom, we need autonomy, we need flexibility, we need decentralization, we need bottom-up development.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Dr. Pitroda, railways have huge infra not utilized. If I'm right, why not India leverage those resources into the mainstream? What would be your advice on that?
My advice
From
would
Mr.
be
Anand.
for you to read a report on modernization of railways that we did. It is available online. It's a big report. Modernization of Indian railways during Dr. Manmohan Singh's time, under uh, Dinesh Trivedi when he was railway minister. He set up a committee to modernize railways. There were some distinguished people on the committee, and there is a great report available. It's all there. Just implement it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Next question is from Venkat Vishwakarma. India is the nation with highest youth population in the world. Why, as a nation, we are not able in creating jobs with the country as much as is required in the current scenario?
Job creation requires capital. Job creation requires creativity. Job creation requires skill set. We have a lot of young people. Are they really trained to do what needs to be done? Do they want to do what needs to be done? Or they all want office job, lots of salary and nothing to do? There is a lot of job available in your backyard, in environment, in water management, in health services. Go do it. But don't expect somebody else to create jobs for you, because that's not going to happen. It hasn't happened and it will not happen. You create your jobs in the local community. But everybody says, give me a job, give me a good salary, but don't tell me what to do. There are enough jobs for carpenters, electricians, construction workers. But then people don't want those kinds of jobs. So I think we have shortage of skills. We don't have the right people. You have people, but there are no jobs. So you need a different level of planning.
Okay. Thank you. So, what's your advice on students regarding starting ventures in the current scenario?
Do
Startup
it.
and
Always do it. Always think of starting ventures, because that creates job. So when you graduate from college and you say, give me a job, you are taking something away from somebody. You should create jobs. Then you are giving something to someone. So I would encourage, but then don't think of startups only in terms of software technology. There are agricultural startups. There are startups in food, health, education, environment, cleaning, water, power. So think of startups in areas where people need something.
thank you. Automation versus demographic dividend. Where are we heading to, sir?
Well, world is going to use more and more automation. You've seen what is happening on the auto industry, for example. Robots paint, robots assemble cars, and same thing in electronic industry, same thing in other equipment manufacturing. So robotics basically says all the routine jobs where you stand there and just stamp something don't need human talent. Should be done by machine if it is cost effective. But there are things machine can't do, and that's what people will have to do.
That,
So we will have to do things that we do well as people, and let machine do things that machine does well. So machine can free us up to do creative things. So don't look at machine as a competition. Okay.
okay. That brings me to the next question. Can you talk about the Art for Change, sir, the new initiative of yours?
Ha. Well, I sort of learned to paint when I was young. So I won't call myself a painter, but I paint for hobby. And I started a little website to sell art from emerging markets to rich countries. We started with Costa Rica, Ecuador, Serbia. We haven't gone to India yet. And we thought it'd be a good idea to take young artists to US, Europe, China, and other places. And in the process, this Black Lives Matter thing came up, and we thought it'd be a good idea to have a competition of artists from Africa and all over the world to represent what Black Lives Matter. Black Lives is all about not just Black lives, it's about human being, it's about diversity, it's about respecting other person, it's about equality, it's about inclusion.
Right.
If there is Black Lives Matter in America, Dalit lives matter in India. Okay, it's the same concept. So we thought if artists can come forward and represent their views, we'll have a little competition, and we have panel of judges, and it's just a idea to engage artists on social change. Whenever I think of Black lives here, I think of Dalit lives in India. No difference. Okay.
True.
So that was the
Thank you,
idea.
sir. I was seeing the videos and the webinars in your website and in the Facebook page. Quite interesting. That's why I came with that. So, in the process of all these changes which is happening, what is your general advice to people who are from the business side and also people who are now shifting from one area to another? There's a huge shift of people who have lost a job and they have understood that this is what they wanted to do. They are going towards what is here. They want to do what they liked always, they're passionate about, and they're shifting. Bankers turning into hairstylist, or a doctor turning into a photographer. That's a lot of things happening now. We are seeing that. So, how do you see this change? Because it's okay, lockdown period. I did my hotel management. I also do that, but I'm into disaster management. And in this lockdown period, I started conducting interviews across the world, and that's giving me different exposure. So, a lot of us are doing this. How do you see this proceeds in long run?
First of all, let's go look at the demography. Population is aging and people are living longer. So earlier we thought at 60 you can retire. I'm 78. I work 16 hours a day. Okay. So my lifespan has increased. My opportunities are more today than ever before. So I must remain engaged. But the idea of one vertical is the history. You don't have to be engineer all your life. You could be engineer, you could be barber, you could be painter, you could be actor, you could be, five other things. So I think we all need to be multidisciplinary. And that's a diversity. Okay. Diversity is not about religion. It's not about food. It's not about language. It's about all of that. Okay. So we all will have to diversify and learn multiple things. And the job that we understand as 40 hours a week, lifetime, with pension, retirement benefit is over. It's not going to happen. You'll get an assignment for 2 years, 5 years, 6 years, 1 year, 6 months, and you got to move on. And I think Corona crisis has really put things in perspective. That localization is important. Worry about your local community, local food, local soil, local DNA, bottom up development, customs, culture. All of these things are important. But at the same time, be global. Don't close yourself.
Mm.
Enjoy local, but think global.
Great.
And again, that's diversity. And that's
Thank you.
multiple identity. Okay.
The initial one what you touched. Okay, thank you, sir. Now we move on to the third segment, which has a couple of surprise questions. First question is, I'm giving you a time machine where you can go back to your last day of your college. From 2020, you go back to the last day of your college. Uh, your version now of 2020, what advice would you give your younger version?
Well, I think my advice would be same. Okay, and that is build good character, good self-esteem, character and self-esteem that is rooted in values like democracy, freedom, diversity, inclusion, honesty, character, all of that. Believe in yourself, love everybody. That doesn't change. Work hard. So fundamentals don't change. Okay. Don't
Okay.
get away from fundamentals. Life becomes complicated when you stay away from fundamentals.
Right.
When you drift from love, create anger, you got a problem. Okay. So if you stick to fundamentals, there are no pressures in life. Don't expect anything from anybody. Keep working hard. Love your enemy. Okay. Life is pretty straightforward. Okay. Why complicate it? If somebody says something against you, don't bother it. They don't know. You know, a lot of people, sometimes I get an email saying, oh, have you seen this on Twitter? Somebody said against you this on Twitter. I said, I don't care.
Okay.
Perfectly all right. You know, he'll learn someday, poor guy. Okay. And he'll change. If he doesn't change, it doesn't matter anyway. So why should I respond? So one fellow was really mad. He
Yes.
said, "Sir, you are not responding. You must respond. Otherwise, this will amplify." I said, let it amplify. I'm not going to respond. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. The next question is, I'm giving you a magical wand. With one swish, you can change one thing in the world immediately. What would you like to change in the world? One thing.
I would, first of all, I don't know the answer. Okay.
Okay.
There is no such thing in this world where one switch can change this world. Okay. There is no such thing. But if I had an option, I would like people to change from inside. All of us.
Wow.
Okay. If there is one thing, I would put a switch saying, everybody now change from inside, focus on planet
Okay.
and people. So all of us with that switch say, okay, planet is more important and people are more important. I go hug everybody. I love everybody. I eat everybody's food. I, you know, respect everybody. Okay. And I respect my environment in which I live in. That's one thing I would prefer. But there is no such thing.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. And next is a gratitude segment where key people in your key moments, milestones in your life who have supported to be who you are, helped you to be who you are today. If you could recall their names and pay your gratitude to them, sir.
Absolutely. First, my family. Okay. My parents, my older brother, who gave me a lot of support in my childhood, my wife, who had lived with me for 54 years and put up with my nonsense, uh, my children, loving, caring, and now my two great grandchildren, who give me lots of joy. Okay. So that's one group of people, my sisters and others. They have all been very, very loving, caring, and generous to me, more generous to me than I have been to them. Okay. So I can't underestimate that. Two, lots of great friends. I have the best friends in the world. Okay. I have some doctor friends, and I had a psychiatrist friend who died. And I have the most wonderful friends you can think of. And these friends are friends of mine for 60 years. 60 years, we are still very close friends. We talk regularly,
Wow.
we meet, and they are all different. We have nothing in common, which is the beauty of it. Okay. My friends and I have nothing in common, but we are great friends. Then comes teachers. who made a contribution early in life. And then there are key players like Rajiv Gandhi. So there are different groups of people: family, friends,
Nice.
people in education, and people who came in your contact or you came in their contact during career. Okay. So there are a variety of groups of people. There is no one person. Again, it is diversity. If I didn't have that diversity, I won't be who I am. Okay. If I was molded in one little mold, it'll be very different.
Great, great.
Okay.
Thank
So
you
we
for that.
must go think about diversity differently.
Very well said, sir. Sir, there are a lot of entrepreneurs around the world who would like to get uh, trained, or if there's any suggestions, are there any kind of a system in place where people who would like to start something, where they kind of get guidance or more, say, training or internship or anything like that? Well, is there a society or an association where they can get guidance from you, sir?
No, I don't have time. My problem is I have no time. You know, I have too many things on my plate. If I take any more, I'm overdoing it.
Okay.
Okay. And I like to overdo. I like to, work on multiple things, but I know my limitations.
Okay.
Sometimes I don't stick to it, and don't do a good job. But I think of startup in terms of Indian way of life. Panwala is a startup. Sabjiwala is a startup. Restaurant is a startup. Startup doesn't mean high tech only. Okay. So learn from them also. Na? They took risk. What is the basic idea behind startup? Do you have something that somebody wants to buy? Is he willing to pay more than what it takes you to make? Are you really interested in exploring this? That's startup. What is so complicated? Don't make it this MBA complicated, this theory, that theory. Okay. If I want to sell this and I make it for 10
Then,
rupees, you're ready to buy for 15, I got a business. But if you say I don't need it, I don't have a business. I'll pay only 5 rupees, I'm at loss. Okay. Now figure that out. Okay. If you can't figure it out, means you are not spending enough time to figure out the problem. See, in young days, a lot of Indian businessmen used to come to US in 70s and 60s, especially in 70s, and they would come and say to me, say, Mr. Pitroda, we need your help. Can I get something from you which is easy to make, doesn't cost much, and there's a lot of profit? I said, if I had one, why would I give it to you? It's a funny thing. Okay. So he wants something very easy to make, lots of profit, and give it to him. Okay. Startup
I
means,
got the picture.
what do you want to do? What do you want to make? You can make furniture. You can, sell vegetables. You can grow tomato in your backyard and sell it. You can go clean people's home. Okay. You can start a factory to make toys. Okay. You can do lots of things in life. Make up your mind what you want to do. But also remember, your expectations are always here and your abilities are here. It has to match. Okay. Everybody has huge expectations, have no energy, no experience, no education to meet that expectation. So align your expectations. You might get
Thank
lucky.
you.
You might get lucky. Okay. But don't count on that luck. And what is lucky? Harder you work, luckier you get.
You are. Thank you. Thank you, sir. I got the picture. Thank you. Sir, are there any book if I ask, like, if there are any inspirational people for you, who do you see as inspiration, or any books you read which you suggest, sir?
I always had two people who inspired me. One is Gandhi, big way, read Gandhi. And then I see some videos where some people are shooting Gandhi with a gun. And I said, who are these people? How ignorant are they? There are videos on internet where some, people are shooting Gandhi and saying some slogan, some crazy people. Okay. But they are there. Love them. What can you do? Okay. So I think they have not understood Gandhi. So Gandhi is something you need to understand. It's about simplicity. It's about moral. It's about character. It's about sacrifice. It's about understanding poor, understanding deprived. Okay. And it's about values and character. So that's one aspect of life that I learned from my hero. And there are other people who were associated with him, you know. And the second hero is Einstein, who could just take paper and pencil and imagine things that takes other people 50 years to prove. Okay. He could see the world beyond, you know, horizon and imagine how things happen.
Mhm.
I mean, one was a master of imagination. And he told me that imagination is more powerful than
Than the
knowledge.
knowledge. Yes.
Okay. And Gandhi said, don't deviate from fundamentals. Stick. It is tough. Okay. I'm one of those rare who can say, I had no need to lie in my life at all. What would I lie about? There's nothing to lie about. I tell you exactly the way it is. If you don't like it, too bad. Okay. I have no need to lie. I have no need to mistrust somebody until proven otherwise. So, truth, trust are important. I never ask somebody, what is your caste? Where are you from? I don't care. Okay, what you believe in, you know. It doesn't matter. You eat beef, it's okay. I'm fine. That's your privilege, you know. So I think these are the fundamental things that we need to understand. And Gandhi taught me that, and Einstein taught me science and imagination. And there's no third thing.
Okay. Thank you so much. I requested 60 minutes of your time. We just crossed that, and a lot of information encapsulated in this 60-minute time, a little bit over 60 minutes time. And I'm truly humbled. I still can't believe that I'm talking to you, sir, because a lot of time we have read about you, we have seen your videos in YouTube as a student during our UG and PG days, and I'm really thankful for your time and sharing your knowledge and lot of areas you have discussed in such a nice manner where people could understand and actually see you're an embodiment of inspiration, sir. I can only say that.
But
Any
thank
closing remarks from you, sir?
you, really. And I hope a lot of young people can see and, critique it and evaluate. Not that whatever I said is right all the time, but do your own evaluation and see what you want to take from it and what you don't want to take from it. Okay. But go inside yourself and examine. Okay.
Sure, sir.
Don't look outside because problem is never outside. Problem is here. Problem is never there. Okay. If I can fix myself, I've fixed the world. Okay. And that's the advice I would give all young people. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Truly humble.
Bye-bye.
Bye, sir. That was Padmabhushan Dr. Sam Pitroda, telecom inventor, development thinker, and policymaker from Chicago. Um, no words to explain the level of knowledge this person possesses and the way he explained in such a simple manner. And I must definitely say this. All I did was just emailed him requesting him, sir, it will be an honor for us for 100th episode to be with us. And it was late night for us, and I think probably afternoon. Immediately, I received a reply, and he connected me with his after a couple of conversations and with his office administrative member, and then it was such a smooth communication, and this happened. I'm really thankful to sir for his 60 minutes where he shared a lot of interesting information. I've read about it, I've heard about it in my class, but hearing from him directly, and a lot of my professors and vice chancellors from different universities who came and they asked, and this is definitely most remembered day. This will be a most remembered day in my life. Thank you so much for your support.